Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. I am Xania Monet, and I just want to briefly talk about hip-hop for a second. For something that was the biggest titan back in the day, from your Snoop Dogg's, 50 Cent's, Ice Cube, so many examples, bro.
So much talent.
It's insane how the generation I know where it got messed up. Got messed up at the SoundCloud era. Hip-hop was so nice in the 2010s. I still not a fan of Drake. Some people, if you were a fan of Drake.
Yeah. No comment.
But at that time, there was your Lil Waynes, your Drakes. There was so much talent during that time. It was kind of a good influx, and you could kind of pick, okay, I'm gonna listen to these particular artists. I'm gonna listen to this. I think even Justin Bieber was emerging around that time, if I'm not mistaken. There was just so many things that kind of contributed to the music industry in a good way because there was competition. People actually cared. They wanted to hear the lyrics. Now people don't actually listen to lyrics in music anymore. They just listen to the music for the sake of it. And back then, music was actually focused in a much better light. You would listen to the lyrics, you would know, okay, this person is talking about, okay, I was shooting in the streets. Got it. Cool. 50 Cent, we didn't know him just for being a troll, bro. This guy was a proper rapper, you know? There was I'm the man. Gaming world, crying and talking. These kind of songs, they still lay in your head. They will still continue laying. You know, you think all these influences, were just there. No, they actually created beautiful masterpieces that we respect. But hey, let's get into the intro.
Feeling cold, though my body's warm. Don't really know what is going on. I get these thoughts that I've never known. I get these thoughts when I'm all alone. Now I wake up.
Alright, let's get into the video.
I'm talking about AI artists. I'm talking about AI generated music. I'm talking about algorithms that are literally deciding what you.
Oh, also in the last video, I did mention that there was an AI singer who got platinum. Make it make sense. Like, where is the human being that... But I already spoke about this. If you want to check it out, make sure you check it out in the next video. Let's continue.
You see and hear before you even open the app. And honestly, it makes me ask myself, do people even care about the music industry anymore? Because I'm noticing a shift. Something is changing fast and nobody seems to notice. The industry is collapsing and it's happening right now. The other day, a friend of mine sent me a snippet on Instagram. And it was a song by an AI artist you might have heard about because...
I'm sorry for the media cut off. I think I did mention that it was a multi-platinum already at this point, but it's no. I did say it's a platinum selling artist at this point, the AI, right? But at this point, it's not actually the case. I do apologize for that.
My bad.
I don't know, maybe I'm confusing that for the billboard, but in advance, I do want to apologize for that. There has to be a human being. Obviously, there is a human being behind this. I want to actually see that person to be the one in the mic, in the studio, to be the one recording. I don't need to hear anything about AI. In fact, that's the one thing that annoys me about AI these days, is because people are getting more and more lazy to actually focus on trying and get your own craft, trying to get your own talent. Don't you want to see, maybe I can be the one to be in front instead of an AI robot?
Her life. But she's not the one making the music. She's pressing some buttons on the software called Suno AI. So all of this music is generated through AI using the software called Suno, something that rolled out a few years ago and completely changed the landscape of the music industry. Suno is co-signed by people like Timbaland, who's literally a strategic advisor for the company, and I'm sure owns some stakes in the company as well. And Suno is currently valued at around $2 billion, which means AI music isn't just coming, it's already here. Now, all of this started a bigger conversation. What the hell is actually going on in music right now? Because honestly, a lot of this kind of ties back to what was happening during the TikTok era. During the pandemic, also known as the bandemic, because those stimmy checks were hitting like crack in the 80s, TikTok became the #1 outlet for music discovery, and it still is. Maybe Instagram is competing there. I guess, that's debatable. A lot of singers and rappers blew up during that era, and it was crazy to watch, right? TikTok completely changed how the general public consumes music. For the first time ever, the song became the background, and the content itself became the main event. And right now, content plus music is basically the #1 formula for success. But this is actually frowned upon inside the music industry because a lot of artists are realizing if you're not willing to be a content creator, your music won't be seen or heard.
And that's one of the biggest downfalls of music. When did TikTok come out? I think sometime around 2018. I thought, okay, hey, maybe people can do short clips, great. You know, it's not a big deal. People can have fun. Cool, right? You're not thinking too much of it, right? Great. Well, TikTok actually changed the whole industry because once upon a time, we actually sent CDs to radio stations. That was very common back in the day. Now, relying on TikTok is a very different brand. You know, you have to do short clips, you have to maybe dance or do something that's going to make a trend. Now, that's the biggest issue with that. Not everybody will want to go into TikTok. Not everybody will want to be a content creator. There are actually options to this. You can choose whether you want to actually use TikTok. Give us options, essentially.
And that's a pretty somber reality. Like, I don't even know how else to word it. Music is content, but at the same time, music is spiritual. It comes from your heart. It comes from your spirit. It's not supposed to be manufactured out of necessity for an algorithm, or at least that's how I look at it. Maybe you disagree. But most people have already noticed the music industry as we know it is basically dead. So you know how in Call of Duty there's this thing called free-for-all? Well, one of my friends, he called the modern day music industry a real life free-for-all. Everything is controlled by a machine now. What artist pops up on your timeline, what songs get pushed into your Spotify algorithm, what YouTube recommends. All of it is determined by a system that's trying to predict what you'll keep watching and what you'll actually like. And you know, that's good from a certain perspective, but it's also bad from another. Because this shift isn't just happening in music, it's happening everywhere. Real life is so chaotic right now. The economy, stress, cost of living. And I think the modern day music industry is kind of like a symbol for life as well in a lot of ways. I've always believed that art and the commodified version we call the industry is a reflection of life itself. Music represents what's happening in the world and what people are responding to. I remember seeing a clip from the 90s where Prince talked about the rise of the internet, and what he said always stuck with me.
One thing I wanted to say is don't be fooled by the internet. It's cool to get on the computer, but don't let the computer get on you. Cool to use the computer, don't let the computer use you. You all saw The Matrix. There's a war going on, the battlefield's in the mind, and the prize is the soul. Just be careful.
Prince was basically saying, don't let these devices use you. You use them. And that's how I see the current landscape.
And unfortunately, it seems like the devices are using us. We have gotten to that point, 2025.
In music and just in life in general. There are so many things trying to use us to keep our attention locked in on one place. And even right now, right? I'm doing it. I'm speaking in order to communicate something. And for you to get it, you have to focus on what I'm saying, which means I have to keep your attention.
It feels completely different.
Yes. So that's exactly what's happening in the industry right now. What you're seeing now is a bunch of systems, engines, recommendation models, data-driven machines. And it's really sad because the bottom line always comes down to this. If you're not as visible and as on as possible, you're basically gonna be forgotten.
We're stuck in this world and there's nothing we can do. I have been Xania Monet. Please make sure to subscribe. Click on that notification bell. Let me know what you think about hip-hop these days. What's going on in your mind? What you think about music in general. Forget about R&B. Forget about every genre. What do you think about entertainment as music as a whole, the music industry as a whole? Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video. Merry Christmas.
Get me up, please help me. I'm on a mission. It's funny, life is just something. Life is so far from easy. What do you want from me? Don't even know my purpose. Don't even know my worth. And if you do, are you certain? It's something. Your journey begins.